Hey, thank you for being here today. Thank you, everyone. Well, it's been a great 2.5 days so far. We had a lot of new announcements on Odoo 17, lot of new feature of Odoo 17 coming in. We had an event at least twice, if not 3 times as big as last year. And you can witness the change of Odoo right now. That brings me to our subject today, from Code Craftsmanship to Consultancy Mastery, the evolution of Odoo integrators. I'm Julian Injarini, Key Partner Manager.
And my name is Nils Gossens. Hello, everyone. We both work in the channel department. We are basically aiming on a daily basis to support our partners and make sure that they grow the best way possible. If you want, now you're used to this, you can already scan the QR code and prepare your questions so we can tackle this after the presentation. Let's take a look at the agenda. We'll basically start with a small introduction regarding our topic. Then we will analyze some aspect of the current markets, try to understand what is happening today. We will discuss also the mindsets we think our Odoo integrators should be in today to make sure that they provide the best services to our end customers. Then we will try to understand how to make the switch if it's not already done. And we will end up with a small conclusion before answering your questions. But tell us, Julien, let's start with this question. Why should we review and improve our customer and project approach?
That's a very, very good question. Why? Why should we change our way of working? It hasn't been working. Why should we improve what's the old recipe? Why should we try to make some changes? Well, that will be the subject we're going to tackle today. And during this conference, we're going to see what data we used to get to that conclusions, what are the reflections behind it, and we'll give you more information about the method, the how, and the result you can expect.
Thanks. Let's start with a small market analysis, as I mentioned. This is the software consulting market revenue forecast. So basically, it's what could happen for the software companies within until 2032 in terms of potential revenue generation. It's coming from the Precedent Research. It's one of the leading insight market providers. And the compound annual growth here is 12.5%. So we're not even talking about the customers you're going to focus on, the team you will have, the potential quality of services you might have. Here it's just the forecast of what could happen to companies providing IT services. So it's quite interesting. It could become quite significant, and clearly we have to think about this. So we were talking about the growing consulting market, but what are the different elements that could be in favor of the growth we saw on the previous graph? Clearly, today companies need more IT services. This is undeniable. Modern companies with complex structure are rising. Entrepreneurs, business owners are really willing to focus on providing better services to their end customers, so the internal processes are becoming more and more complex. Diversified business management needs, this is related to the previous point, of course, and decision makers are open to evolution and rethinking. This is capital to more and more business owners are really willing to move forward. They understand that centralizing the information is capital. They understand that taking quick decision, making sure that we are able to react fast, thanks to the tool that we have, this is something that is really important for everyone. We needed to do it with the right profiles, and this is, I'm talking about consultants, and we needed to do this with the right tools, of course. Let's take a look at what the competition is offering today. We have a lot of very complete and complex solutions available. Verticalized products, a lot of them, and we also have a lot of high costs of customization and integration related to the tools we were talking about. A lot of freemiums and SaaS solutions too. Clearly, here, the competition is providing us with tools that are really complex to understand. It takes time to discover those tools. It takes time to implement, and it's really costly to maintain. This is something we want to avoid. Creating a lot of technical debt is really something that is not good on the long term, and we need to focus on the long term more and more. We need to do this with the right profiles, and we need to do this with the right mindset. This is the growth of partners. So I'm not talking about Odoo integrators in general. I'm talking about Odoo partners from 2015. Clearly, the growth is undeniable. We can see it. The year is not over. And I'm talking about learning partners and the 3 levels of official partners. For the one who doesn't know, it's ready, silver, and gold. Here, we can see that those companies understood that clearly providing services and focusing on Odoo is clearly something that could become really profitable, and they want to be part of the game. So we were saying the amount of partners is growing, so it means that the competition is growing too. And the competition is bringing more and more skills. People are willing to develop themselves. They want to grow. They want to have a better knowledge of what they are implementing. So it comes up in the end with providing the end users with many different possibilities, making sure that they have, ending with a lot of solutions, and we could lose the customer in the choice they want to make. So the competition is providing a lot of tension in the market, but it's also super exciting, and people need to make the difference. This is really important. And how can we make the difference? It's basically by focusing on the right services. And when we think about the big picture, when we think about Tiny ERP or Open ERP, and when you take a look at the 2 days that just happened, clearly we're comparing two different galaxies here in terms of functionalities, in terms of performances, in terms of user friendliness. The tool is really not the same, and we need to make the best out of it. Odoo is an easy-to-use solution. It's user-friendly. When we compare it to other tools, it's quite easy to implement, and of course, we need to make the best out of it once again. And how to make the best out of it? We need to have the right mindset. And Julien, can you please tell us about that mindset?
Sure. Obviously, thank you for all this information. Niels gave us the reason why we should change. No, I think to change, it starts with a different mindset. So, as you can see, it's pretty clear that developments are something of the past most of the time. With Odoo, we started 4 years ago thinking about a new mentality. We started building a team dedicated to bigger targets, mid-market target that we were not addressing at the time. And we started building a new approach with a new team to address these new needs. And we did so with let's say, hybrid approach, with consultant, with sales team, but not with developers. We wanted to keep the customer and the project as standard as possible. But to do so, we had to change our approach. We had to contact the customer and challenge his needs. And I think it's all about having that mindset to challenge the customer need. And switching from really a developer that was useful when it was Tiny ERP, Open ERP, or the older version of Odoo. But is now, I'd say, almost obsolete in the 2023. So now, with a good consultative approach and challenging the customer need, you can reduce the amount of development you're going to do. And the mindset is basically to switch from a developer approach, developer accepting all the requests of the customer, to having a more consultant approach, trying to prepare for the change, playing with that, selling services to help the customer change and get the full power of the solution. So 4 years ago, as I was saying, we built a team, the mid-market corporate team. We built a strategy that works in 4 steps. Pre-sales. Pre-sales, where we can do gap analysis, we do qualification of the project, we do budget forecasts. And then we switch to pre-project. Pre-project, we go for the proof of concept, we do ROI, and we start giving the customer tools and information to push the project in standard, of course. Then we switch to the implementation phase, where there is training, workshops, we spend time with the customer, we try to limit the development as much as possible. The fact is, there will always be some development at some point, but we want to be sure that by that stage, we challenge all the development as much as possible to get a smooth and simple project. And then growth. This part is very important. And some partners, some implementators forget that part. Once you're implemented your client, you have to come back, check on them again, see if they need more services. And when I say more services, check if there is opportunities, retraining, more apps with the new versions, more services that you were not able to implement on the first few phases. It can take 6 months, it can take a year, but the customer wants to be challenged. And I'll give you a quick exchange I had with a customer a few months ago. He was telling me that he had a good implementation of Odoo. He had actually what he was looking for, but it was not great. He was looking for more. He was looking to be challenged. He was looking to get that edge to its competition, to get the full power of Odoo, to get all the opportunity and efficiency he could get with Odoo. But he didn't get that. He had exactly what he asked for, and he was willing to change partner integrator to another one to be challenged. And that's why we built that presentation. That's why we think that if you want to remain relevant in the future, you have to adopt that consultative approach. Now, that's a rough graph to give you some pointers on the effects of having that consultative approach. It's not precise number, but it's just to show you a trend. You'll have all the steps of the implementation process, qualification, that will remain pretty much the same. Pre-sales, that's where, with a consultative approach, you're going to start challenging. You're going to spend more time with the customer. You're going to do more workshops, more interview internally. You're going to gather as much information as possible on the customer. Then the implementation, which should be more efficient with a consultative approach, but with that in mind, you will implement more application because you know more the customer. So you spend roughly the same time. Development should be less development than before. And the training phase, of course, you're going to do more workshops. The goal is to impact more users in the company. Spend more time with them, training them, make sure they'll be able to enjoy and use as much Odoo as possible. What's not on this graph is the growth phase. So after the implementation, you want to come back every 3 months, 6 months, a year, sorry, in order to challenge them again on their use. The goal is to expand their scope. They'll probably want to use more Odoo if you did a good job. If the implementation went well, they might want to use accounting, HR, expenses, more services of Odoo. So come back to your customer, keep challenging him, and you'll be able to sell more services.
Thank you, Julian, for explaining us what is the right mindset, or at least what is the mindset we should have. Now let's try to understand how to make the switch if it's not something that is already done in your company as an integrator. What should be the main focus when we do the switch? Basically, we want to hire the right profiles, empower the right skills, and the project success should be the only focus. Customer satisfaction will be reached with the project success, making sure that we avoid focusing on the customer satisfaction from the beginning is something that will help you to ensure the project success. When we think about the profiles, Julian and I were talking a lot about consultants and project managers since the beginning of the presentation. As Julian mentioned, pre-sales, implementation, follow-ups are 3 main steps of an implementation, and the consultants or the project managers will have an impact on during each of these phases. Pre-sales for the product demonstration, analysis of the different flows of the customer, how people are working during the implementation for the customization, providing, you said development when it's necessary, and it's right, clearly we're not saying that we should avoid developments, but clearly we should focus on what is really necessary, must have, and not nice to have. The nice to have is coming afterwards on other phases, during other phases, and follow-ups with the growth, etc. In terms of skills, clearly technical functional knowledge is a must-have. Understanding the Odoo implementation methodology. I mean, we are talking about Odoo as a tool, so we need to understand what is the right methodology to implement it. It will enable a lot of us to save time. Project documentation and phasing. If we don't understand this, it's going to be tricky to provide the right service. The tools and how to go live. This is the most important part because there is a lot of support to provide to the customers, trainings, making sure that they understand properly the tool they're going to use, that all the key users are also able to provide the information to the other employees that will use the tool, and the difference between customization, configuration, and additional development. It will enable us all together to make sure that we focus on what is necessary, that we find a good workaround, that we don't increase the budget of the project, that we put the customer on production as soon as possible. So you were talking about the methodology, mindset, etc. The methodology that we use internally for small projects, medium projects, and big projects. And we just saw the resources, the type of resources that will help us together to reach the high value proposition that will be proposed to our customers. This is really something that we need to focus on. But what's in it for you as an implementer? What's in it for you as a customer? Can you please tell us, Julie?
Yes, of course. And I think that's, we'll try to go pretty quick on this part because I see the time running and there's so many points we'd like to share, but I'll try to stay to the point. So to talk about what's the added value you can provide as implementers, I'd say we summed it up on 5 key points for us. You'll be able to share and to help your customer with their strategic orientation. While implementing ERP, you want to help them conduct change management to try to push them to use as much application as possible. And that way you'd be able, from the start, from the first phase, even if you start implementing just 1 or 2 applications that are critical to your customer, you'll give them vision on the long term. If you conduct good interviews, good workshops, you get information, and you'll be able to, let's say, have some influence, have some sway, on the decision that will be taken on the long term. Ongoing support by staying close to your customer, by showing your consultant, by showing up, with your consultant, with your clients at all time, you'd be able to stay close, to stay proactive on the support, and to try to prevent as much issue as possible. Operational efficiency, well, with the right method, you get the right approach. You'll be leaner, clearer for you and for the customer. Quality and consistency, well, you're efficient. You've been creating documentation as well. You'd be able to have a higher standard of implementation, of course, and to be, I'd say, closer to what a standard approach could be. For the customer, I'd say, of course, you can have more structure because you have a consultant, so you have more steps. You have, clearer steps, clearer implementation. Time and cost management, you'll get a better view on the long term. What are you beginning with? What's coming in the future? You'll have time and you'll be able to, I'd say, maybe not save costs, but have a better vision on the budget on the long run for your project. Collaboration, you'll be able to have, with a consultative approach, you'll be able to have more ownership of your project. You'll be more involved every step of the way. You're not going to have a box or a fixed solution installed. You'll have something that be tailored for you, and you'd be, help in the change with support and services from your integrator. Risk reduction, more change management, more, let's say, workshop. Your partner know you better, so you'll get less risk of budget overrun or delay in your integration. And of course, customization. You get a good workshops, good consulting approach. Your partner will be able to customize it properly for you.
So to wrap up everything, when we think about Odoo project management yesterday, we were focusing on the short term. We were providing a lot of customization. Clearly, the toolbox was providing us with tools that were really unpolished, and we needed to polish the tools. So it was relevant to come up with a lot of additional development. And today we want to change this.
Yeah, actually, the vision of today and the future is way different. We want to challenge customer needs. It always come around that. Don't take it for granted. Don't do what the customer wants. Do what the customer needs. You need to challenge them. You need to talk to them. Stay close to them. We have a solution that is almost turnkey. That is easier to implement when it's standard. That it's easier to maintain when it's standard. That it's easier and that be more sustainable. On the long term for your customer. So challenge your customer. Stay close to him. You'd be able to sell more services, and you'll bring more value to your customer and make the difference with the competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for attendance. Now, if you have some questions, scan the code, and we'll have a pad. We'll get your question, and we have 5 minutes or so to give you some more information.
Thank you, guys, for your presentation.
Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the audience and QA section. First question. Can you customize the red and yellow values in the benchmarks?
The what?
The red and
I don't know.
yellow values in the benchmark? Well, if I'm not really sure I understand the question, but I'd say if you're asking me this question as a customer, I'd say maybe you should, maybe we should. Oh,
It's for the other talk. It's not for
okay,
us.
okay, it's not for us. Let's go
Okay.
for the next question.
Okay, the questions are coming.
The questions are coming. Please feel free to ask as many questions as
Or maybe
possible.
It's
we were-
because the QR code disappeared of the presentation, and if someone joined after the
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay, okay,
starting,
okay, okay.
Probably.
yeah,
Or maybe we were super clear and nobody has questions.
yeah, that is
Of
a
course,
possibility.
we can discuss this afterwards. If,
Yeah,
if
feel
you
free
want
to
dig
come to us.
further, you can still discuss with your point of contact how to do it. If you don't have a point of contact, you can find one pretty easily going on the website.
Someone is typing.
Someone is
Nice.
typing. Nice. We'll have at least one question.
Yeah. Breathe deeply. What if client doesn't want to pay for, we don't know what?
Let's say pay for the consulting phase.
For training?
Well, this is something. If the customer doesn't want to pay for training afterwards.
Nothing.
Okay, but then I think this is something we need to understand. We need to understand the reason why the customer doesn't want to pay for training. Creating added value is clearly something that we are used to do. Sorry, if you use a new tool that you don't understand, I know Odoo is quite user-friendly and it's easy to discover on your own, but still you cannot fully understand the potential of the tool in a short amount of time doing this on your own. So you will save a lot of time as a customer going for the implementers approach. Training with them is something that will help you to save a lot of time. If the customer is not willing to use your services afterwards, after the implementation, this is something that might come up after after a few months. We clearly understand that it's not always possible to provide consulting services after the implementation, but it's something that we can challenge, and most of the time we manage to sell services after the implementation.
I'll add just one thing: is if your customer is willing to pay for the integration, so customization workshop, and it doesn't want to be trained, is going to spend a lot of money and not enjoying 100% of the solution. By training his teams, I mean, you can customize trainings, obviously. You can just train key users, for example, that could save some money to your customer. But I think investing in training is something that makes the integration way more valued than not doing it. That's what I would answer to the customer.
Thank you. And another general question. How do you measure success?
How do you measure success? That's an excellent thing. I'd say the point for me as key partner manager is having customers referring the integrator to another customer, and that's the how I measure success. If you have customers referring you for your method, for your implementation to someone else, it means that you went beyond expectation, and that's what you're looking for when you're having that consultative approach. I think
Thank
that's
you,
it.
guys.
Thank you,
Yeah, we don't have
everyone.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.